Lily's favorite day. Lily woke before the sun, her heart already doing a drum solo against her ribs. Founders Day. Parade Day. Her favorite day of the entire year, bar none. Not Christmas, not her birthday, nothing compared to the spectacle and swirling colors of the Founders Day parade. She stretched, wiggling her toes beneath the crisp cotton sheets, and glanced at the watercolor landscape propped against her bedside lamp. It was a scene from last year's parade, a towering float shaped like a clipper ship, cannons blazing confetti, with tiny, joyful faces painted on the miniature sailors. She'd captured the feeling perfectly, the excitement radiating off the canvas. Throwing back the covers, she carefully swung her legs over the side of the bed and reached for her wheelchair. Today, her chariot. She spent a few extra minutes fussing over it, polishing the chrome until it gleamed, attaching a small, hand-painted flag depicting the town's crest to one of the spokes. Downstairs, the aroma of Abuela Elena's cinnamon-laced coffee filled the air. Buenos dias, mi mariposa. Abuela greeted her, her smile as warm as the sun beginning to peek over the horizon. Excited, eh? Excited is an understatement, Abuela. Lily chirped, grabbing a piece of pan dulce from the basket on the counter. I'm practically vibrating. Then eat something, vibrating mariposa, Abuela chuckled, pouring her a cup of milk. You need energy for all that cheering. After a quick breakfast, Lily and Abuela headed out, armed with a thick blanket, a cooler filled with juice boxes, and, most importantly, Lily's art supplies. Securing a prime viewing spot was crucial. They always aimed for the corner of Elm Street in Maine, where the parade made its first turn, giving them an unobstructed view of everything coming their way. Remember, Lily, Abuela said, carefully positioning the wheelchair so Lily faced the street. This day isn't just about the floats and the music. It's about remembering. Remembering where we came from, the people who built this town. Lily nodded, her gaze already fixed on the empty street, imagining the approaching pageantry. Her mind drifted back to Abuela's stories, the ones she told every year leading up to Founders Day. Stories about her great-great-grandmother, Isabella Rodriguez, who'd arrived in town with nothing but a trunk full of dreams and a burning desire to open a bakery. Isabella had faced resistance, Abuela had explained, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. The established merchants, mostly men, had tried to run her out of town. But Isabella, with her fiery spirit and her incredible empanadas, had persevered. She'd become a beloved figure, a symbol of resilience and hope. Lily had always felt a special connection to Isabella, a kindred spirit fighting for her place in the world. A distant drumbeat thrummed through the air, snapping Lily back to the present. The sound grew louder, closer, more insistent. A thrill shot through her. It was starting. Founders Day. Her favorite day. A banner of pride. Dust motes danced in the attic's stale atmosphere, sunbeams knifing through gaps in the nailed-shut windows. Lily choked back a cough, waving away the particles as she wound through a maze of cast-off furniture and long-forgotten keepsakes. Her quest, the ideal textile, something bold, a visual shout of self-respect. At long last, tucked behind a tower of time-worn quilts, she found it, a roll of canary-colored canvas, nearly pristine. Jackpot. Later, in her own space, the canvas sprawled across her bed, a beckoning canvas of possibility. Her art station was a study in order, acrylics arrayed in a spectrum, brushes immersed in cleansing jars, stencils meticulously fashioned from heavy paper. This banner transcended mere assignment, it was a proclamation. A vibrant act of defiance against those who questioned her place. She began with a charcoal study, sketching the outline of her great-grandmother, Elena, a figure known to her only through sepia-toned portraits and whispered family lore. Elena, the impassioned advocate for agricultural workers, a legacy that thrummed in Lily's very being. Hours dissolved in a swirl of pigments and textures. Scarlet blossoms twined around Elena's likeness, each petal a tribute to her tenacity. Verdant foliage murmured of the fields Elena had labored in. Stenciled lettering declared, Elena Rodriguez, an unsung hero. Lily's tongue darted out as she painstakingly rendered the nuances, the resolute line of Elena's jaw, the spark of rebellion in her gaze. Moments of frustration arose. A smear of paint, a wavering brushstroke, hues that stubbornly refused to replicate the vision in her mind. But each time, she inhaled deeply, channeling Elena's unyielding resolve. Surrender was not in her DNA. As twilight painted the room in somber hues, Lily applied the final flourishes. Drained yet invigorated, she stepped back to assess her handiwork. It was more than just a banner, it was a chronicle of her heritage, an embodiment of her identity, an affirmation of her inherent worth. With unsteady hands, she bore the banner downstairs. The savory fragrance of Abuela's cooking permeated the air, a comforting contrast to the butterflies fluttering in her stomach. Her family had already assembled in the living room, their faces canvases of anticipation. Lily unfurled the banner, presenting it for their scrutiny. A collective intake of breath rippled through the room. Abuela's eyes glistened. "Elena," she breathed, reaching out a trembling finger to trace the painted image. "It's beautiful, darling," her father murmured, his voice thick with emotion. "You captured her essence perfectly." Her grandfather, typically reserved, simply nodded, a gleam of pride in his eyes. "Elena would have been so proud," he said quietly. "We all are, Lily. Every one of us." A surge of warmth flooded Lily, banishing the lingering tendrils of doubt and insecurity. This banner wasn't solely for the march, it was for her family, for her forebears, and ultimately, for herself. A banner of pride, woven with devotion, fortitude, and the enduring spirit of Elena Rodriguez. And come morning, she would parade it with her head held high. Words of exclusion. The morning sun, usually Lily's ally, felt mocking on her skin. She adjusted the brim of her sun hat, the woven straw tickling her forehead. The parade route buzzed with last-minute energy. Marching band members warmed up with discordant blasts from their instruments, clowns practiced juggling bright orange balls that seemed to multiply in the air, and the scent of hot dogs battled with the sugary perfume of cotton candy. Lily clutched the rolled-up banner tighter, its painted surface smooth beneath her fingers. Her heart hammered a nervous rhythm against her ribs. This was it. She navigated her wheelchair through the throng, the whir of its motor a small, insistent sound against the growing cacophony. She spotted the official organizing table draped in red, white, and blue bunting. Two women in crisp, starched shirts sat behind it, their expressions as starched as their clothes. "Excuse me," Lily called, her voice barely audible above the din. She propelled herself closer, a hopeful smile on her face. "I'm Lily Rodriguez, and I'm here to participate in the parade." One of the women, her face etched with disapproval lines, barely glanced up. "Do you have your registration form?" "No, I didn't see anything about a form," Lily stammered. "I just wanted to show my banner." She gestured to the tightly furled canvas. The woman sighed, a puff of air that seemed to dismiss Lily entirely. "Well, you need to be registered. Anne. I'm afraid it's too late now. The parade is about to start." Lily's smile faltered. "But I worked so hard on the banner. It's about community, about everyone being included." The other woman, who had been silently observing, finally spoke. Her voice was sharp, like chipped ice. "I don't think it's appropriate. You know, with that." She flicked her gaze pointedly at Lily's wheelchair. "It would slow things down. And it wouldn't look right." The words hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. Lily's carefully constructed optimism crumbled. The vibrant colors of the parade suddenly seemed garish, the music jarring. She felt a flush creep up her neck. "But I can keep up," Lily protested, her voice trembling. "I'm really fast. And the banner, it's beautiful." The first woman shook her head, her expression unyielding. "I'm sorry, dear. We can't make exceptions. It's a safety issue." Lily stared at them, the rejection a physical blow. The joy she had felt only moments ago evaporated, leaving behind a hollow ache. She wanted to argue, to plead, to show them the hours of love and effort she had poured into the banner, but the words caught in her throat. Slowly, she turned her wheelchair around. The sounds of the parade, once exciting, now felt like taunts. She gripped the banner so tightly her knuckles turned white. The painted images of smiling faces and intertwined hands, symbols of unity and acceptance, now seemed to mock her. As she wheeled away, a single tear traced a path down her cheek, blurring the already fading colors of the festive scene around her. The sun, once a welcome warmth, now burned like a brand. Sidewalk tears. The brass band's oompa practically vibrated through the soles of Lily's sneakers. She sat hunched on the curb, a concrete island in a sea of bustling townsfolk. Red, white, and blue bunting strained against the lampposts, a festive mockery of her mood. Around her, the air crackled with excitement. Children shrieked with laughter, clutching miniature American flags. Parents adjusted tiny Uncle Sam hats. But Lily felt like she was watching it all through a pane of glass, separated and unseen. The parade lineup stretched for blocks, a vibrant tapestry of floats, marching bands, and local heroes. Lily's stomach twisted. She knew the route, the order of participants, even the approximate time each float would pass. She had memorized it all, anticipating her own place in that vibrant tapestry. Except, she had no place. Her banner, the one she'd poured weeks into crafting, lay crumpled in her lap. The vibrant colors of the monarch butterflies, meticulously cut from recycled magazines, seemed to mock her now. Celebrating migrant heritage, it proclaimed in bold, hopeful letters. Hopeful until yesterday's rejection. A tear escaped, tracing a hot, shameful path down her cheek. She scrubbed at it with the back of her hand, but more followed, a steady stream now. The joyous music seemed to amplify her despair. She clutched the banner tighter, the magazine cutouts digging into her palms. She could almost hear her great-great-grandmother's voice, a low, mournful hum that echoed across generations. Abuela Elena, who had crossed the border with nothing but the clothes on her back and a fierce determination to build a better life. Elena, who had faced prejudice and hardship with unwavering dignity. What would she think of this? Of Lily, sitting on the sidelines, tears streaming down her face, defeated before the battle even began? Lily squeezed her eyes shut, willing the image of her abuela away. She could almost feel the weight of her disappointment, a heavy mantle of unfulfilled dreams. Elena had always told her, "Nunca te rindas, mi nieta." Never give up, my granddaughter. But how could she not? They had made it so clear. Her voice, her heritage, wasn't wanted. Not today. Not here. A clown, his face painted in exaggerated glee, skipped past, tossing candy to the crowd. A piece landed near Lily's feet. She didn't move. The candy lay there, a saccharine offering she couldn't bring herself to accept. The parade was about to begin. The crowd surged forward, eager to secure the best viewing spots. Lily remained rooted to the sidewalk, a solitary figure amidst the revelry, her tears watering the concrete beneath her feet. The sidewalk, cold and unyielding, mirrored the chill in her heart. The general arrives. The polished black staff car, a behemoth amongst the nervously shuffling ranks, purred to a halt. Dust motes danced in the sudden stillness. All eyes snapped forward. Even the nervous coughs ceased. The rear door swung open with a soft, pneumatic hiss, and a pair of impeccably shined black boots emerged, followed by the crisp olive fabric of perfectly tailored trousers. General Eleanor Thompson unfolded herself from the vehicle with a practiced grace that belied her age. Her uniform was immaculate, every button gleaming, every crease razor-sharp. The ribbons on her chest spoke of battles fought and won, of unwavering dedication and unyielding courage. She wore no smile. Her face, framed by short, practical gray hair, was a landscape of deep lines etched by years of responsibility and difficult decisions. Colonel Davies, face flushed a shade of puce that clashed horribly with his uniform, scurried forward, his salute a jerky, over-enthusiastic affair. General Thompson, welcome. We are honored by your presence. Thompson returned the salute with a curt nod, her eyes already scanning the assembled troops. Colonel. Let's see what we have, shall we? Her voice was low, but carried the weight of command, silencing the babble of nervous chatter that had begun to bubble up. Davies, visibly sweating now despite the chill morning air, gestured towards the parade lineup. Everything is in order, General. We've been rehearsing for weeks. Thompson moved slowly, deliberately, down the line, her gaze sharp and unwavering. She paused before a group of musicians, their instruments gleaming in the pale sunlight. Her eyes narrowed slightly, but she said nothing, moving on to a contingent of medics, then a group of engineers. She observed, absorbed, taking in every detail, the glint of a misplaced button, the slight tremor in a young soldier's hand, the barely perceptible sag in a flag pole. Finally, she stopped before Davies, her expression unreadable. Colonel, the order of march. Explain it to me. Davies puffed out his chest, relief evident in his voice. He launched into a detailed explanation, reciting names, dates, and justifications. Thompson listened patiently, her gaze fixed on a point somewhere over his shoulder. When he finished, she asked, her voice deceptively mild, and the rationale behind prioritizing the engineers before the signal corps. Davies stammered, caught off guard. Well, General, tradition, mostly. And the perceived importance of their role in the initial stages of deployment. Thompson's lips tightened almost imperceptibly. Perceived by whom, Colonel? Davies swallowed hard. By the planning committee, General. I see. Thompson's gaze swept back over the assembled troops, lingering for a moment on a figure standing slightly apart from the main formation. A flicker of something, interest. Concern. Crossed her face, then vanished as quickly as it had appeared. Very well, Colonel. Carry on. An unjust reason. Lily sat on the curb, the vibrant banner depicting a soaring phoenix slumped beside her like a discarded dream. The music of the parade, once a promise of unity and celebration, now felt like a taunt. She traced the phoenix's painted feathers with a numb finger, the rough canvas a poor substitute for belonging. A hush rippled through the assembled troops. Lily barely registered it, lost in her own small universe of disappointment. Then, a shadow fell across her. She looked up, blinking against the afternoon sun, to see General Thompson standing before her, ramrod straight in her crisp uniform. The general's gaze, usually sharp and assessing, held a flicker of something akin to concern. Rodriguez, she said, her voice a low rumble that cut through the distant drumbeats. I expected to see you marching. That's quite the banner. Why aren't you with your unit? Lily swallowed, suddenly self-conscious under the general's scrutiny. They said there wasn't room for it, ma'am. The lie felt heavy on her tongue. General Thompson's brow furrowed. Room? That makes no sense. Sergeant Major, get over here. A flustered sergeant major, one of the parade organizers, hurried towards them, his face already pale. General Thompson, ma'am. Is there a problem? Explain to me, the general said, her voice dangerously soft, why Private Rodriguez and her banner are sitting here instead of participating in the parade. The sergeant major stammered, adjusting his tie nervously. Well, ma'am, with all due respect, we had to make some adjustments. Streamline things, you understand. And, well, her enthusiasm, while appreciated, didn't quite fit the aesthetic we were aiming for. He avoided Lily's gaze. Aesthetic? General Thompson repeated, her eyes narrowing. Are you telling me you excluded a soldier, who volunteered to carry a banner celebrating resilience and recovery, because she didn't fit your aesthetic? The sergeant major shifted uncomfortably. It's just, Well, the committee felt that her background might be distracting from the message we were trying to convey. He sputtered to a halt, the unspoken words hanging in the air like a foul odor. Lily felt a surge of anger, hot and fierce, replacing the earlier numbness. Distracting? Background? Was he implying what she thought he was? The general turned her head, her eyes locking onto Lily's. What is it, Private Rodriguez, that they find so distracting? Lily stood, her chin lifting. I believe, General, they found my heritage too visible. Too ethnic. They wanted a more traditional look for the parade. Her voice trembled, but she held her ground, refusing to let their prejudice shrink her. The phoenix banner seemed to pulse with a renewed strength, reflecting the fire in her eyes. A silent protest. The general's jaw tightened as she watched the parade marshal wave Lily away, another vehicle nudging forward to take her place. The air, thick with anticipation moments before, now tasted like ash. The polished brass of instruments glinted mockingly in the sunlight. Driver, she said, her voice clipped, pull over. Park the vehicle. Now. The driver, a young corporal named Davies, blinked. Ma'am. But we're expected at the reviewing stand. I gave you an order, Corporal. Park the vehicle. The general didn't raise her voice, but the steel in her tone left no room for argument. Davies swallowed hard and steered the jeep towards the curb, his movements jerky and unsure. He killed the engine, the sudden silence amplifying the distant drumbeat. General Thompson stepped out, her boots clicking sharply on the asphalt. She adjusted her uniform, the crisp fabric a stark contrast to the crumpled despair radiating from Lily. The crowd, sensing a disruption to the carefully orchestrated event, began to murmur. Lily stood by her now stationary vehicle, head bowed, the vibrant colors of her hand-painted signs seeming to dim in the harsh light. The first notes of the parade's marching band blared through the air, a triumphant fanfare that felt like a personal insult. She squeezed her eyes shut, fighting back tears. The rhythmic thud of drums resonated in her chest, a heavy counterpoint to the lightness she had hoped to feel. General Thompson walked towards Lily, her stride purposeful. The murmur of the crowd intensified, a wave of hushed speculation washing over them. She stopped a few feet from Lily, her shadow falling across the younger woman's dejected figure. Lily didn't look up. The parade had officially begun. A phalanx of soldiers marched past, their boots hitting the pavement in perfect unison, their faces impassive. The crowd erupted in applause, the sound a hollow roar in Lily's ears. She imagined herself a ghost, invisible, irrelevant, watching a celebration from which she was forever excluded. General Thompson extended a hand. Her face, usually an inscrutable mask of authority, was etched with a quiet determination. Her gaze was unwavering. Walk with me, she said, her voice low but firm, cutting through the noise of the parade. Walking together. The parade music faded, replaced by the frantic flapping of Lily's banner in the sudden wind. She stood, a lonely sentinel on the curb, the rejection stinging worse than she'd imagined. Her carefully painted words, celebrating community, celebrating all, felt mocking now, a testament to her naive hope. She was about to fold the banner, to disappear back into the anonymity of the crowd, when a shadow fell across her. General Thompson. Lily's breath hitched. The general, ramrod straight in her immaculate uniform, hadn't spoken, hadn't even glanced at the parade organizers huddled in embarrassed whispers a few yards away. Her eyes, the color of a winter sky, were fixed on the banner. Then, with a movement so unexpected it stole the air from Lily's lungs, General Thompson reached out. Her gloved hand closed around the pole. General, with all respect. A nervous voice stammered from behind her. One of the parade marshals, sweating despite the chill, approached cautiously. Perhaps this isn't. The general silenced him with a look. No fire, no overt anger, just a glacial stillness that sent the marshal scurrying back to his huddle. And then, she lifted the banner. Not with a flourish, not with a grand pronouncement, but with a simple, deliberate act of acceptance. The wind caught the fabric, making the painted letters dance. General Thompson adjusted her grip, her knuckles white against the dark wood, and stepped off the curb. Lily stared, dumbfounded. The general didn't say a word. She simply began to walk beside Lily. Together. The silence that followed was absolute. The only sound was the rhythmic thud of the general's polished boots on the asphalt and the rustle of the banner. The parade, a kaleidoscope of noise and motion just moments before, seemed to hold its breath. Faces turned, mouths gaped. Even the horses pulling the mayor's carriage shifted uneasily, their riders struggling to maintain control. Then, a single clap. A hesitant, solitary sound that echoed in the stunned quiet. Another clap. And then, a roar. The applause erupted, a tidal wave of sound that washed over Lily and the general. It was a thunderous, spontaneous expression of solidarity, of outrage, of long overdue recognition. People surged forward, cheering, their faces alight with a fierce joy. Some wept. Others raised their fists in the air. Lily, walking shoulder to shoulder with the general, felt a lump form in her throat. The sting of rejection was gone, replaced by a burning hope. The banner, once a symbol of her exclusion, now felt like a lifeline, a bridge connecting her to a community she had almost given up on. She looked at the general, at the unwavering set of her jaw, at the quiet strength radiating from her very being. No words were needed. This walk, this shared defiance, spoke volumes. A true founder. A wave of pride, so vast it threatened to suffocate her, swelled in Lily's chest. Beside her, General Thompson, a figure of unwavering resolve, moved with a measured stride, her silvered hair catching the sun's benevolent rays. The throng, initially stunned into silence, erupted in a joyous roar, the sound cascading over Lily, a balm soothing the morning's earlier wounds. She grinned, her fingers intertwined with the general's, their footsteps an echo of perfect accord. From the periphery of her vision, Mr. Henderson's face registered a comical dismay. Mrs. Davison, beside him, appeared on the verge of collapse. Their machinations, their petty power game, lay in ruins. Lily's grin broadened, not fueled by malice, but by a profound sense of validation, of finally being acknowledged. The cadence of drums, the mournful call of bagpipes, the exultant cries, a vibrant symphony celebrating her belonging. Lily anchored herself to the sensation of the general's gloved hand, the sharp, clean scent of her impeccable uniform, the steely focus of her gaze directed forward. They proceeded in a silence thick with unspoken understanding. As the parade neared its conclusion, a nervous flutter stirred within Lily. This exhilaration, this feeling of rightness, she wished it could stretch on endlessly. The general came to a standstill, pivoting to face Lily. Her features were inscrutable, yet Lily felt a deep, resonant connection. A brief, firm squeeze of Lily's hand, then release. With a crispness born of decades of discipline, the general rendered a salute. Not to the masses. Not to the mayor and dignitaries. But to Lily Rodriguez herself. A lump constricted Lily's throat. She fought back tears, overcome by a gratitude that defied articulation. From her dress pocket, Lily withdrew the carefully folded paper she'd carried all morning, her drawing of great-great-grandmother Elena, a woman of steel in her own right, her face a testament to unwavering purpose. "This is for you," Lily managed, her voice strained with emotion. "It's my great-great-grandmother. She was one of our founders. A real one." The general received the drawing with both hands, her gaze softening as she examined it. "She has the look of an incredibly brave woman," she observed, her voice a deep rumble. She folded the drawing with meticulous care and tucked it into her breast pocket, close to her heart. "Thank you, Lily. I will treasure this always." Lily watched as the general turned and strode towards the waiting staff car. A final, subtle nod, and she was gone, leaving Lily bathed in sunlight, feeling an unprecedented sense of strength and stature. The crowd surged forward, showering her with accolades. Yet, in that instant, Lily stood alone, the general's salute etched into her memory. She knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that she, too, possessed the spirit of a founder.